Welcome to Diplomatic Talk, Dip Talk. Dip Talk is a program which provides a window from Thailand to the world and from the world to Thailand in relation to international issues. We are happy that this is the first session of our program. I would like to introduce you to two of our prominent guests. On my left, here is Permanent Secretary of the Ministry of Foreign Affairs, Kun Sihasak Phok. He is well known to us. He is a veteran diplomat. He was Thai ambassador to the mission of Thailand to the United Nations in Geneva. He was also president of the UN Commission for Human Rights. And on my right is Rari Jagan, a veteran of Southeast Asia, senior analyst of the BBC. He has been reporting on the region for over 30 years. And recently, he has been to Myanmar. So he will share with us, his views. We will first start, to talk about Thailand. Thailand's in a changing world. And we are happy that the Permanent Secretary kindly honors us with his presence. And he will share with us his view how to position Thailand in the period ahead. In view of a changing world, the US, Europe, and Japan are on the decline. Why China, India, Russia, and other countries in Latin America are on the rise? How does he view this, and how does Thailand position itself? I would like to ask Kun Sihasak to share with us his views.
Thank you very much, Professor Somkiat, and it's a great pleasure for me to be on this program. I understand it's the inaugural program, and it gives me an opportunity to meet with you, one of our most respected former diplomats of the ministry. And also, it gives me an opportunity to be on this program with Larry, whom I've known since my days as the spokesman of the Foreign Ministry. And indeed, I can assure all in the audience that he is indeed an expert on Myanmar and someone with a lot of passion about Myanmar. Well, you asked me to address the topic of Thailand in a changing world. I think you've mentioned some of the changes that we all have witnessed. I think what we see looking outward from Thailand is that we live in a multipolar world. The United States is declining, or not declining, of course, that's a subject to debate. But we live in a multipolar world. We see definitely the rise of China. We see the rise of emerging powers such as Brazil, India, Russia. Japan is still a major player in the global economy. The EU, in spite of the present crisis, is also a big player politically and economically. And together with the rise of Asia, rise of China, we have the rise of Asia. And Asia is what people say is where the action is. Asia is going through a process of economic transformation, integration. We see an East Asian community emerging, and at the core of that community is the ASEAN community. So the challenge for Thai diplomacy is how do we position ourselves in the midst of these changing international, regional contexts, and also to address the emerging challenges. I think one thing is important is we have to restore confidence in Thailand. As you know, we went through a period of political difficulties. Right now we have to demonstrate that Thailand is back on track politically. Well, this government has a strong mandate from the people, and we're moving forward with political reconciliation and strengthening our democratic institution. Second, last year we suffered a very devastating floods And it's important for us now that we're rebounding to show that we still have strong economic fundamentals and Thailand is back on the path of economic growth. But I think importantly, insofar as our diplomacy is concerned, we have to show that Thailand is taking a proactive foreign policy. And this is the point that I've mentioned to many of my colleagues at the ministry, is that we have to look beyond Thailand. We should not be looking at our immediate interests only. We have to see how Thailand can be proactive in promoting development of the region, stability of the region, how can we close the economic gap within the region, how we can help to advance integration of the region as a whole. And so I think these are the main direction that we should be pursuing in terms of the conduct of our foreign policy.
Kun Sirisak, it's a changing world, but we're seeing growth of democracy and development in the Middle East. We're seeing developments in Africa, while of course we're still seeing developments here in Asia. How does Thailand balance the regional priorities for foreign policy against the other priorities vis-a-vis America or the Middle East?
Well, definitely our focus will have to be in our backyard. That means within the region, because this is where our main security, main economic interests lie. But at the same time, we have to look beyond the region, because this is a globalized world, and events in other parts of the world do impact upon the region, upon Thailand. A case in point is the economic crisis in Europe, the so-called Eurozone crisis. But the events in the Middle East, the so-called Arab Spring, do have implications for international peace and security, especially in terms of the Middle East process. But it also, I think, reflects the yearnings of the people in these countries for democracy. And this is the result of what we call globalization of information. It's the result of people who have been suppressed for a long time. But I hope that while the situation in each country is different, I hope that the building of democracy and the democratic institution in each of these countries will lead to more stability in the region, and more stability in that part of the world enhances global international peace and security.
It seems, that you are, positioning Thailand to a multipolar world, and do you feel that the priority that Thailand has so far have regarding all the various positions should be changing, or should be kept the same, or do you have any new approaches, any new way of having closer relationship with pricing power or other countries? We position ourselves.
Well, I think when I joined the foreign ministry about 20 or something years ago, when you were also in the ministry, we talked about pursuing a multi-dimensional foreign policy, and I still think that the approach applies. But maybe we have to be more proactive. Maybe we have to take a more, I would say, maybe demonstrate more maturity in our diplomacy. So, as I mentioned, in terms of our neighboring countries, we have to help them on the path of stability, political development, especially in the case of Myanmar. In the case of Myanmar, I think our policy should not just be looking at how we can advance investment and trade with Myanmar now that Myanmar is opening up, but how can we help Myanmar to lay down the foundation for democratization and national reconciliation. And so we have to help them in terms of economic development, promoting economic reforms, human resources development. So the approach, as I mentioned, is to not just think of Thailand's own interests, but without immediate neighbors, think of how we can pursue common security and common prosperity. And I think that applies to beyond the region as well. In East Asia, going to the Middle East or elsewhere, we have to see ourselves as part of a global community. And events in the Middle East, we have to see them as affecting our interest. And so we have to be concerned, we have to take positions. When I was in Geneva, representing Thailand on the Human Rights Council, we had resolutions on Libya, we had resolution on Syria. Maybe in the past we would have abstained, but I think it's important for us to show our position, to take stands on important matters, and to be counted when people expect you to show your position. So I think this is how I see our foreign policy being conducted in a multi-dimensional way.
It seems that we are going to have a proactive foreign policy under his leadership. And I think next we will be touching on the closer region, ASEAN, and also the GMS. Stay with us, don't go away.